Every time something happens, I'll often say, like, it's escalated. Things seem to be getting worse. I want to just clarify real quick. I don't think it's apocalyptic. I just think we are going to have this tumultuous period, which I believe ultimately things are going to improve. And I think they are improving. But it's fascinating to me that, I go back to 2017. I make a video about this. I'm talking because of what happened in Charlottesville. And everyone I know, left and right, say, you're crazy. This is a clickbait article. The New Yorker is just putting out clickbait because it's shock content. It's going to make them money. And I said that I think the political conflict we're seeing between these factions in the streets is going to escalate. Antifa and BLM will go out and fight. Conservative groups, Proud Boys, Patriot Prayer, whatever it's going to be, are going to fight back. Democrats are then going to step up and say, hey, this is an opportunity for me to promote my political campaign, utilizing this shock content, which will then spread the ideology and the division, and it will ultimately reach higher and higher levels of government. I said that to a group of people 2017, 2018, 2019, and they kept telling me I was crazy and I was wrong because the government would never allow something like this to happen. We have now gotten to the point where the sitting president has had his main political rival arrested in an attempt to put him in prison for the rest of his life. Clearly political. The Hillary Clinton camp smashed phones and destroyed public records, smashed phones with hammers, used open source purging software to wipe public records, all criminal. And we say, oh, but we're not going to prosecute it because it's too far beyond or whatever. And we say, fine. But then they go after Trump in this way. So my attitude is, I don't think it matters whether or not you think your side is right, the other side is wrong, whether you're left or right. Certainly believe you're right if you think you're right. I think I'm right, right? You guys probably think you're right. What matters is the conflict is happening. And so the reason I bring this up is, in your case, as I mentioned, if in 2017 you were to go to someone and say, October 2020, the feds will announce a militia was plotting a conspiracy to kidnap a governor. Several of these men will be arrested and charged. 2 will plead guilty. You'd laugh your ass off and say, shut up. You're crazy.
Right.
We're 3 years beyond this. Yeah. 3 years beyond this. Of course, you were acquitted. It was a hoax. The fact that the initial story was men try to kidnap governor or plot was shocking enough. I think it's 10 times as shocking now that FBI stages hoax to manipulate election. It's one thing if a group of random guys get together and come up with a crazy idea. And we say, yeah, they're crazy people. Out of 330 million people, you're going to find some crazies. But then when you find out federal law enforcement actually did, provably true, our elections intentionally. Now we're talking about the highest levels of government engaging in active conflict against the American people.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's just how I see it.
That's exactly right.
Scary times.
You can look throughout the text messages of the agents and their informants where they are saying, like, they're telling people, we want to maximize attendance at this event, try to invite this person and that person. So some of the things that they've tried to use to say that this was a real plot, this actually happened, is they talk about the recon of her vacation cottage. They say, oh, these guys went and they drove past her vacation cottage because they actually wanted to do something. They were planning something. Well, you can look in the discovery and look at the text messages. The FBI agent has planned the first ride along. He's saying, invite this person, try to invite that person, do this and that. In the vehicles, it's FBI paid for vehicles. They pick everybody up. They're the ones driving the vehicles. You've got the informant, the main informant, Dan Chappell, driving. Sitting next to him is undercover agent Red, aka Timothy Bates, who says something like, "Where are we going, fellas?" or whatever. And Barry is in the backseat, I think, with Adam. And Barry says, "Destination unknown." He doesn't know where they're going.
Wow.
But this is how they plan these ride-alongs. So Barry was invited to the night recon or ride-along to her vacation cottage. Now, Barry's told at one of these field training exercises he's invited to that they're going to be doing land navigation training as part of their militia training. Barry is he's a 40-something-year-old truck driver from Delaware with 3 daughters that he's raising by himself, by the way. He's got a fiance who suffered a traumatic brain injury. that he's dealing with. So he's driving around the country, though. He's attending these FTXs because he wants to be able to defend his family if something happens. And they tell him we're going to be doing land navigation training and night vision training. And then he gets invited. He doesn't know where he's going. The FBI drives these guys by Whitmer's vacation cottage. Prior to that, they've installed a pole cam on her property. A pole cam has like the night vision video, because they want to be able to pick up this vehicle driving down, because they wanted to show this to the jury to say, look, they were casing the place.
Well, actually,
they really wanted to do it.
Actually, real quick, that night that they went on that, they never went by her house.
They didn't even go by
Really?
Yes, because the leaders of the group, right, they never had the address. You know who did have the address?
FBI?
The feds did. And guess what? Jason Chambers said, oh, they don't got the address, sent the main informant who was driving the address. Guess what? It was one number off. It was the wrong address. He messed up. So they drove around aimlessly, never even going to her house at all.
This is crazy stuff.
I know, and I hate to laugh about it, but it's so ludicrous. It is so theatrical and over the top, the way that they're doing this stuff. They are scripting a movie. The FBI is literally plotting this out like they're writing a narrative. And they'll cherry pick things to put it together to try to make this over the top thing like, oh yeah, these guys were really going to do something. So they were able to make a reconstruction of that video, by the way, which means the FBI just created like a theatrical video and they let them play that to a jury.
Wow.
Something that never happened.
It never happened. Not only did the first ride along, they didn't even really go in the right place, even though the FBI was the ones driving the vehicle. They do these reconstruction videos and play it to a jury to influence and bias them. We know also that
in your jury trial they did?
What?
They showed the fake video they made?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. They showed that. They said this is what they were going to do and how they were going to do it. They had said, Mr. Caserta right here was, an enforcer, right? Like I was going to be like in the vehicle. And when you go on the trial, the defense attorneys are cross-examining these witnesses, and they're like, okay, so they were going to go here and then what, get a boat and put her on a boat? And then who's going to drive that boat? And then wait, so that doesn't make sense. So you would need a 2-boat system, right? And then you just go on and it's like there was no plan to do anything at all.
But they got what, 2 people so far to plead guilty?
Yep, that's what they do is they threaten with life in prison to, these young 20-year-old guys, and, they fold and they take a cop and say, you know what, I'll lie for you in order to get less time. I don't care.
Ty Garbin, I think, is already in a halfway house. He'll be out soon.
Yeah. The 2 guys who decide to cooperate against me and Daniel Harris and everybody else, they're already out of jail. And Barry and Adam, who are still completely innocent, are, serving 16, 20 years for something that the FBI did.
And
are you guys religious?
Yes.
You are?
Yeah.
Christian?
Orthodox Christian.
Are you?
I'm not religious, but I believe in creation and God.
Yeah, I'm probably in a similar spot. I only bring this up because are you familiar with what the final level of hell is reserved for?
No, what is that?
Betrayers, traitors, the disloyal,
snitches.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think I fear several things in circumstances like this. The malicious evil of these FBI agents. We're talking about malevolence that most people do not want to believe exists. And then the more so banality of evil in the men who took plea agreements to save themselves, knowing they were lying to do it. The scary thing is that these guys who pleaded guilty, these are guys who, presented with the opportunity from the FBI, said they would rather burn down this country than risk any harm to themselves. And that's a terrifying thought that people like that exist, because we know that evil exists and we know that goodness can stand against it. We know there's a possibility that if we do this right, and come 2024, maybe not Donald Trump, but if we do get real and effective leaders, we might see justice brought to these malevolently evil FBI agents. But when you realize that so many of the people in this world are like those who pleaded guilty and then lied to try and destroy your life, there's a lot of complacence.
How about they get promoted? These
Yeah.
agents get promoted and rewarded for this stuff. And I think that people see that, you know,